Yeah, it's a lot of audio hardware to include at this price. Hey there! This episode of Some Gadget Guy is brought to you by viewers like you. All of the incredible people sharing content across social media, and the generosity of my patrons at patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy. More info on those amazing nerds later in the video. The folks at SOUNDPEATS are back in the Gadget Lab. They sent over the new H3 earbuds for me to test drive, share some thoughts. I've had genuinely good experiences with this label in the past, as they regularly deliver a fun price to performance. I really don't want that to sound belittling, but I think they're a very good bang for buck brand. I always find it interesting when a company like that gets a little more ambitious. And the H3 are a larger bud. They're shaped a bit more like the in-ear monitors that I like to wear, the cabled earbuds. And I wish they set in just a little deeper in my ears, but I'm always happy when we don't have that cut-off AirPod stock style. They're not quite like Pixel Bud buttons, but they secure in my ears better for not having those arms sticking out. And the tech side is well supported too. Now, I connected over LDAC for most of my testing, but they also support Snapdragon sound. So you have good options for high-res playback on any Android device. Again, it's a bummer for iPhone owners that Apple won't support these kinds of features to give you better audio quality. Android users are gonna be in for a treat. And we get other things like dual connection. There's a low latency mode included for gaming. It's nice that these are modes that they're more and more common on earbuds at all prices. The battery is rated for up to 7 hours on a single charge and up to 37 hours using the case here. That's pretty close to what I got on my first listen with LDAC and ANC on. Hear the difference. Now, SOUNDPEATS. There's a lot of talk about premium materials. The earbuds look good. I think the case looks nice. It all feels really lightweight and inexpensive. A somewhat hollow feel to this charging case. Again, we're trying to hit a really competitive price because the H3 are impressing on audio technology. This is another triple driver true wireless earbud. I just recently reviewed another one, which you can find linked below. We're using a large dynamic driver to handle the lows and a pair of balanced arms to handle mids and highs. We can divide up duties and there's more flexibility, which can improve audio quality. Now, someone, of course, is going to rush in and say, a well-tuned single driver bud can sound just as good. And that's true. Some care, some attention, absolutely. But going multi-driver gives the manufacturer some room to play. Immediately, I have to recommend that no one buy these if you're not going to install the companion app. The tuning out of the box before installing the app was strangely lean to my ears. And I'm not a bass junkie or a skull rumbler. So if they're lean for me, that might be real bad for folks who like a fatter consumer-facing sound. But firing up the companion app, making sure I had the ANC set up the way I wanted to, switching over to LDAC, and clicking on that bass boost mode, these came in really rich. There are a number of presets to play with, but the changes between several really aren't that dramatic. More than a few times I would try to A/B different presets, and I could barely hear changes between those two options. So thankfully you can go in and roll your own EQ, and I think that always helps personalize the stuff you really want to focus on, the stuff you want to hear in your audio. Now these do have some good rumble to them, and I'm happy that doesn't flatten out the mids. Because we have these different drivers, there's room to drive the articulation. You can get those details buzzing, the guitar distortion distorting. They don't quite impress like some of the more expensive buds might, or something more exotic like a planar magnetic earbud, but these punch well above their price tag. It's actually in the highs. I think the sound feels a little too recessed. I'm not someone who likes a lot of sparkle up in that air, but I actually did turn them up just a bit more. Again, when something starts to sizzle or if it's piercing, it's very uncomfortable to me very quickly, but I think these needed just a bit of lift. It rounded out just that bit of sparkle, and I think they woke up. They were recessed so far, I think there's a lot of room before anyone would have issues even with sibilance on female singers. The H3 are a product of their tier. The noise cancellation is good, but it's not hard finding earbuds near this price that can isolate better. Wind noise, for example, that can make an impact on the microphones, but I think they do a respectable job of minimizing consistent distractions around you. It's all about price to performance, right? I kind of feel we're trading one trick, the multi-driver hardware, for another, like a more advanced ANC system. And we lack a few of the other techie bits, like in-ear detection to auto-pause playback, but it's hard to get too upset given what this focus is. This is a really fun earbud that sounds really good at a competitive price. I think SOUNDPEATS has always played well with this idea, carving out a specific niche in the affordable audio space. Making some specific choices here on the H3 maintains that reputation well, even though we see the brand trying to climb a bit higher up the food chain. There are manufacturer earbuds, the earbuds made by the same company that made your phone, that are probably going to be a better companion device for taking calls and using AI assistants and all that other stuff. But if one of the focuses that you're trying to maintain is audio quality and you're not trying to break the bank, then these are probably worth your consideration. So I will, of course, leave some links down below where you can find more information on the SOUNDPEATS H3. Maybe shop these babies online. I always love digging into audio. It was a major focus of my channel. It's how I got started on YouTube making videos and reviews in general. And it just breaks my heart that a lot of this content now really doesn't do well. If you have like a broad tech channel, if you're just a headphone focused reviewer, you're probably seeing a lot of these videos, but YouTube is not pairing us up with audiences that would be interested in this kind of content. I always appreciate folks who share content across social media, you subscribe to channels, you're smashing those bell icons to help with the algorithms. But if you really want to keep up to date with what's going on, the best place to do that is on my Patreon, patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy. This list of names scrolling by on your screen right now, a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart. These are the folks that are helping to keep the lights on here in the Gadget Lab. They get early access to my videos, all of my videos in 4K, production diaries, behind the scenes, the private Discord, and they get timely notifications when I put out new stuff. They're not being separated from the stuff that they want because YouTube is trying to wedge between creators and their audiences. They're basically the coolest tech pals in the universe. So I hope you'll check them out. I hope you'll consider joining the community at patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy. Now, you know where you can find me across the rest of the internet at SomeGadgetGuy, basically everywhere. But these days, I'm trying to spend a bit more time on the Mastodons, a little on the Blueskis, and a whole lot less so on the Facebooks, the Threads, the Instagrams, and none at all on that dumpster fire site. And I will catch you all on the next review.